Welcome to the Emo Social Club podcast, broadcasting to you live from emosocialclub.tv. I am Brian.
And I'm Lizzie, and we're here this evening for the first time in a long time in a room together, me and Brian, talking with the podcast Bandwise, which is comprised of Misha and Chondra. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening.
Thank you for having us. We're super excited to be here. This is actually our first collective podcast, Twitch podcast about a podcast. So we're super excited.
Yeah.
I'm nervous. I feel nervous. I don't know why. Are you nervous, Misha? How do you feel?
Well, I'm never nervous until someone else says they're nervous. And then I feel like I get, like, maybe I should be nervous too. So I'll join in.
One of us has to hold our shit together. So
I feel good. I feel great. It's like practically my bedtime and we're hanging out, staying up late.
There we go.
I think we should all be nervous. I'm kidding. Yeah, tell us a little bit about Bandwives. Tell us about the podcast. Tell us about, I'm sure everyone asks, like, how did you two meet and how did you decide to start a podcast? So, I mean, we can do it. We hate to. I was thinking, like, that's basically the same as, like, asking a band, like, how did you choose your name?
Yeah.
Where did your name come from? It's like the same thing. But like, I also was like, well, could just switch it up and go, hey, where'd the name of your podcast come from? But I feel like that would also be a pretty shitty question.
it's pretty self-explanatory too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I'll take it away. So I am Chondra Sanchez. I'm a writer and a human being. And I happen to be married to Claudio Sanchez from Coheed and Cambria. And Misha, I'll let you introduce yourself and we can maybe talk about how this came to be.
Yes. My name is Misha Lazarra. I am married to Adam from Take It Back Sunday. I am a writer as well and a professor of fiction. And we have 3 kids. And I think that's it. I think that's my whole spiel.
That's the life.
That's the whole thing.
That's it.
So basically, Misha and I have met in passing. Taking Back Sunday and Coheed did a tour. We've been trying to figure out how many years ago. We just keep throwing out random numbers. We're like 10 years ago for sure. And we're like, no, it was 5. But it was at some point in our lives. And I think Misha had just had a second baby.
Third, I think, yeah.
I had, our son Atlas with us at the time, and it was just like, you're in the backstage area and you're introduced, but you really don't. You're like ships in the night, and you're at different times, and your schedules are crazy. So we said hello and had like a very quick chat, but that was kind of like the most that we could do at the time. So flash forward, like through COVID, a couple of years later, we started talking on the internet and became internet besties. And we were thinking about, Misha had reached out one day to sort of create like maybe a support group style space for bandwives, who were like at home alone and taking care of families and doing the juggle kind of on their own. And it's such a weird, unique lifestyle that originally we were like, well, let's try to find a way to like get us all together so that if we see each other backstage at shows, we actually know each other and we can like be there and be available. But obviously there was a challenge just trying to find people and like put them into like, I don't know what would it even be, like an email or something like that. So then we're like, well, what if it was a podcast, as people do. And neither of us had ever podcasted. And we brought it up, I brought it up to our manager, and he was like, it's a lot of work. I don't know if you want to like go down this path. And then I was like, well, I guess now we have to go down this path because I'm so stubborn. We're going to make this happen. So, so we started last July. It's actually our 1-year anniversary.
Oh, wow.
And we do shows weekly. We interview other bandwives. We interview mental health professionals in the music industry, all kinds of like just any sort of adjacent music person, I guess. I don't know. Niche. Help me.
Yeah.
Find my words.
Yes. Every other week we do a little short mini-sode where we just kind of catch up or answer a listener question. And then the following week, we'll have a guest. We've done people from the Roadie Clinic. So it's like music support. We've done mental health professionals that work with musicians, and then a lot of amazing band wives. And I feel like we thought at first we'd just do kind of like a private Facebook group or something, some way to share information and kind of come together as a community. And the podcast has been amazing. I feel like I've learned things like just strategically. One thing Michelle DeRosa said was just like, oh, however many days they're gone, you do these links. And then every day the kids take the links off so they know when dad's coming back. But also like emotionally and spiritually. And you know, that I've learned things and picked up things that I hadn't even been consciously aware of. And I hear someone say it, it's just like, so I feel like just talking about your experience, and this is a unique experience that we share, is healthy.
I think that's interesting because I listened to some of your podcasts, and I was also looking to see like what like, you know, the vision of it is, it's classified under, and it's parenting. And then I listened more and I was like, yes, this makes sense because you're interviewing a lot of people who have kids or just have families, or, you know, obviously they're entwined into this industry. And I think that that's just so interesting because we never hear that like opposite end of it. Everyone's always being like, oh, talk about whoever is on stage at the moment, but we never hear about who's behind the scenes and basically trying to be there for and keep everybody together who is on stage.
Totally. And I think it's emo. I was thinking about it today about like emo, just, the word and what it means, and like, reliving my youth and listening to some albums today. And I'm like, what is this? What is the thing? Like, what is the reason that we all as kids like kind of gravitated to this and still are? And I feel like the thing, we can all see ourselves in these songs, like in the sadness, in the breakups, in the anger, whatever the thing is. And we thought it was interesting to kind of like bring in the people who these songs are about, like that like influenced a lot of this art and, continue to kind of play a big role in this lifestyle, I guess.
It's 2000. The year is 2004, and 2004, maybe it's 2005, but it was In Keeping Secrets came out, and Where You Want to Be came out, and those are the two albums that I was listening to in my car because I could just drive, and I was out in the car listening to both those songs, both those albums, just on repeat forever. It is very much of like that time, and I know that like now looking back and saying like something is emo is like a little bit more like we were saying before, there's like some adjacent to emo stuff, and that's not really like emo classified, but you're like, yeah, well, all the emo kids were also wearing a Taking Back Sunday shirt, so like it took on a life of its own, a mind of its own, and it is very much like that. Like, yeah, the nostalgia is just coming back, I think, in ways that like are bigger than the artists and bigger than the bands and bigger than anything else.
Yeah. I feel like kids now and have such a greater sense of self, and maybe it's because parenting is different and has evolved, and maybe are like a little bit more open to like discussing feelings and like talking about what you're going through and being proactive. But when we were kids, like I think we all kind of had that in common. Like our parents were the product of their parents who like didn't really talk about things, and this is how we got how we got in touch with like what we were feeling. And I still listen to some of those records, like I don't know, like Dashboard, and it brings me back to these like pivotal moments in my life where I was just learning like what an emotion felt like, a specific terrible stab through the heart. You're like, God damn. But yeah, I wonder what it is that we all had. There's a confidence in music now and a lot of lyrics and things that didn't exist in that movement. It was very like not self-aware, I guess.
Yeah, I think like now with a lot of music that at least like that has come out recently, it's very much taking everything and saying like, oh yeah, you guys say that like I'm this bad person or I've been bullied or whatever it is. And they're like, oh no, you're wrong. I'm actually going to like stand up for it. Cause I know I hear it a lot more, and it's also much more like aggressively like unique and like self-fulfilling, because I feel that we as a society have finally, in some ways, obviously not in all ways, has started to value like creative expression through music, especially after COVID and when we saw so many different like genre blendings, and we still see it now come out from all these different like out of left fielders, and we're like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing, this is great. And I think just also people being open about it, because I know there's like a lot of younger kids who like some of this music that sound very similar to music like we listen to, that like, you know, we grew up with as well. And sometimes they have no full reference to it, but they're like, but this new thing sounds like this, but it's like redone and remanufactured to be completely different. I just find it so interesting at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like every generation has to take what was given, what we grew up with, what was already, you know, like established, and then reframe it through their perspective. And so if it's Olivia Rodrigo, you know, or like someone that's like kind of sounding like that music that we're familiar with, it's still going to have its fresh take because it's filtered through this younger generation, through this new perspective. And I mean, I feel like that's what we've been doing through time immemorial, you know, just kind of like even with, you know, a novel, or Chondra, you know, is writing graphic novels, and it's like these same kind of human themes repackaged in like this new kind of a little bit more modern perspective.
I wonder if it's because I'm not a parent, and maybe as two parents, you'll feel differently about this, but I hate it. Like, and I mean, like, I hate it.
Children?
No, not children. I mean, you know, everybody's definitely going to love their own, and the ones that they spend
Honestly,
time
when
with.
they're not, yeah.
And I don't have any of my own, or any that I spend a lot of time with. So I'm just looking at them like, who's this little stranger? You don't know any of my songs that I listen to.
Oh, no.
This music. But like I was earlier at Lollapalooza and seeing this artist who the artist is Breakins, and they're like a newer hyperpop style artist, and I'm just surrounded by like a bunch of Zoomers, and I'm like, it's nice because I'm taller than everybody, but it's like I'm also 12 to 20 years older than all of these people here, and it's like, yeah, I absolutely want, like, I want a younger generation to have the same experience I did driving around in my car listening to these two records, because they meant a lot to me at that time. And now I have to like accept that there's going to be a child. Like, maybe I am also driving around to Break-Ins and listening to that now, but I want that experience for them. But I find myself like just getting to this place where I'm like, too many goddamn kids here. I'm trying to enjoy this as a late 30s man, just trying to watch an artist have a good time, and there's all these kids, and they're all
I'm just going to say, Brian's going to have a terrible time. We're going to the Swaco after show.
We're gonna have a great time.
He's going to have a terrible time with all the other people who are my age.
Yeah, and like
He's like, there's kids.
There's all these kids over here.
He's gonna be like, this kid's, and he's going to point at me and be like, you, get out of here.
Yeah.
I'll be like, all right.
I mean, again, I want everyone to have the same emotional experience. I want, 20 years from now, I want them to be able to say, oh man, remember when we like listened to this band? Remember when we watched that show? Like, that's a cool experience. But I think just like in my jaded old age, and like I don't have like maybe there's a different experience for you where it's like you're seeing a child who's growing up listening to songs and wants to like strike out on their own musically and learn songs that they like that aren't their parents' music, or
find their own broken side.
Yeah, find their own broken side. Title of the episode: Find your own broken side.
Oh no.
Do you trust that they will and that music is out there, or do you think because of there's so many different options and so many different, and everyone's listening to half a song, do you think that is never happening, or do you think it's still out there?
I think it's out there. Now, yeah, I think the music style has changed. The genres are different. The feeling of it is different. Songs are shorter. I think artists are a little bit more like, it's very hard to say if it's going to be like a one-hit wonder, but certainly like going to Warped Tour, you're seeing a lot of bands that are repeat every year. You're seeing a lot of bands that are sort of within the same sound, so you just end up kind of liking, you know, like, all right, well, I saw this band this year, and this year is like the new version of that band, and that kind of thing. So I think that having that openness and that variety and having discoverability through TikTok is like a phenomenal thing for a generation that, like, you know, I only got whatever came up on my MySpace bulletins and like whoever's profile I went to, and that's the only way like I discovered music like during my college years. I do think my thought now is that there isn't enough curation around it, and so it needs a lot of people who like are of the older scene or like of music and have some experience in it to say, you should check out this artist because this artist is like very good. Maybe if there's somebody who's like a kid now and they're like, you know, I really like this, but I'm trying to find the right band. And it's like, well, have you heard of Coheed? Like, you should check out Coheed. They're pretty good. And then it's like, oh, wow. Like, I would love it if Coheed was like the Led Zeppelin of when I was in high school. Like, I was so annoyed at all the Led Zeppelin
Gather
kids.
round, children.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, Coheed is so much better than Led Zeppelin. And here, I'm going to show you how.
Well, now it's Greta
But I
Van
think,
Fleet.
like, very true. And I think you hit the nail on the head because it's like you want people to experience the same thing, right? Like you want them to be in the car with you in 2004 and like be going through the same emotional landscape that you're going through. But kids hate that shit. You like sit them down and you're like, listen to this. You're going to love this. And then you like tell them why they should love it. No, they're out. But I feel like if you say, hey, you should check this out, you might like it, then it becomes like their own experience. And maybe they discover it at a time in their life when it's important. Because I will hold my kid hostage and be like, you're gonna listen to this Get Up Kids song and you're gonna know the pain, you know, but like it's not the same.
No, my kids got really into Gorillaz, and I just feel like it's because otherwise I don't know if I'm going to get canceled for saying this. Otherwise, their music sounds like video games. Mm-hmm. Like they're really into video game music, and I cannot relate. So when they're like really, both my sons are really into the Gorillaz, I feel like that's the gift from the God.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's like, but you know what? That's what another thing I was thinking about is like kids are experiencing life in such a different way. You know, like when Claudio and I started dating, we didn't have text messaging was like 3 buttons. This is really dating me right now, but like you had to be like, I love you. It was like 47 buttons just to like write.
That's why we found the ILU, and that's why we have those.
We have abbreviations now.
Yeah.
Totally. But now so much of like life is digital. You know, it's like you're meeting online, you're spending most of your time together online, you're playing video games, you're Twitch streaming, you're connecting with people in this like very unique way. And so it would make sense that things kind of feel like video games, or they feel maybe like more processed or whatever, because that's kind of the experience that the world is having now. And I don't know that we'll ever be able to really understand that, being aged. But we're trying, you know, like I want to have a cool experience with like
I'm not trying. No, I'm not trying. I'm back to Elliott Smith it's like all I listen to. You know, I haven't evolved.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I tried to I was listening to like the new Post Malone record today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's just like that I'm trying. That's a try.
Yeah.
Like,
there you go. That's a little bit different.
Yeah. I like his last record too though. I love him.
Yeah.
Post is cool.
Yeah. My kid really likes The Weeknd.
Sure.
Okay.
Deeply inappropriate.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I feel like everything with the Weeknd right now is
Oh my God. He wants to listen to Blinding Lights on repeat. He's like, that's my jam. And I'm like, what do you know about the world? Like, you're 9.
You're 9. You're 9. Sit down, calm down. Here's an apple juice.
Dude, at like 24 or 25, I was hearing The Weeknd. I'm like, I don't think so. I don't know. If
no, I feel that way at 38. I'm like,
very sexy.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what I was kind of like, when you think about emo, it's very not sexy. It's like, you know, it's kind of the opposite. It's like, I have had a horrible trauma and I don't know what to do about it. I'm super confused. Music now is so like sleek and like confident. It's different.
It's kind of like wow. Bad Omens, like Just Pretend, and like anything that they have really done. Like there's stuff that's harder, but then you listen to it and you're like, this is like really sensual, like emo. I don't like hard rock music. It's just good, but like it's very weird to peg down because I don't think any of us like thought that would be it. People are calling it like emo R&B, and I think that's like the weirdest comparison.
I love that.
Yeah.
I do love the genre, like
Everything
smashing.
everything can come together somehow.
Yeah, we that's the other side of the curation argument is like there's too much that's together, and it's like I think there's like R&B groups that are like, man, you can't just like do that like hey, Sleep Token, like you gotta kind of learn how to do that. hey, Bad Omens, you gotta learn how to do, and like yeah, just I don't know. I do think that being like younger generations now are just kind of like I can literally do whatever I want and there is no gatekeeper to anything. And I do think that like back in my day, back when, you know, there were more like the Warped Tour bands and that it was like, yeah, no, you stay in your lane because nobody will listen to it if you do something that's off the beaten path there.
It wasn't.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It wasn't just known to listen to it. They couldn't sell it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like you couldn't get a label. You couldn't get it. And so now you just put it out and it's out there and it's like so easy for people to pick it up. And
yeah. I feel like even like, you know, because we do comic books. So obviously like Coheed has a graphic novel, their concept band. And their records feel very much like that, right? It's like there's a cinematic movement to them. One song feels like this, and then you're like, what? Whoa, that took a left turn. Like, so people didn't really know what to do with it when it came out. You know, when Second Stage came out, they still kind of don't. But now it's becoming like much more of a thing. You know, we go to Comic-Con and there's lots of bands who have like books out and are doing this like conceptual. I think like, you know, it's scary to be the one who kind of breaks out because you don't know where you're going to fall, where you're going to land. Is anyone going to understand this? Like, is this going to be the kiss of death for my career? But if you just, I have always felt that if you just keep doing the thing, the weird, awkward thing, and being yourself, no matter what, even if it sucks for a while, eventually things come full circle and you find your people.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like too, I mean, getting into like concept albums, I feel like there hasn't been as many concept albums in the newer music sphere. So like I saw Coheed on the last tour when they came through Chicago because Coheed was my best friend's favorite band ever. And I had never seen them live in like an actual indoor setting. I've always seen them at like festivals. Mm-hmm. And I knew that it was like a concept album. I knew there was like everything accompanying it. And I saw everything like put together. I'm like, oh my God, like this is insane. Like this is so cool and so colorful and so different. And like, I know one of the other ones I probably followed a while ago was Within Temptation. They also did like a concept graphic novel. And I just wonder, like, when are we going to have more of those come back? Because I feel like that exploded a little bit like earlier on when like Danger Days came out and people started to get into that vibe. And I'm like, oh, this is so cool because I love graphic novels. And I just don't see them as often anymore.
It's interesting because we were talking before we jumped on about Max Bemis, and you know we see him in the comic world. You know, obviously like Gerard Way is like a huge proponent of comics. He's so talented, and there's a lot of like crossover there. I think music and like visual storytelling really lend each other. Like they really complement each other well, and so I would imagine it's going to keep trending in that direction, especially because we have streaming services. You can create shows, you can do movies, you can make shorts on YouTube, whatever. The availability of places to share your art is so big, much bigger than it was. So I think it's really, I love that when I discover something new, new music or a show, and then you realize like, holy shit, there's all this other stuff. Like, what? This will keep me busy for at least 1 year. I think it's cool, and it really gives people something to kind of like latch onto and interpret in a different way.
Yeah, all my favorite Coheed songs, they have the whole story in the song, you know, and it's like you can visualize it, you can picture it, you see the characters, and you know, it's like, and all my favorite Taking Back Sunday songs too are like you can see the scene. They're setting a scene, there's people together interacting, and you understand that the story is unfolding. And there are not even all Taking Back Sunday songs, obviously not all, and you know, some of the Coheed songs it's not as much of like a full story and scene and setting that you can see right there. And I talk to Adam about that a lot, because I just feel like if you can't really see the picture and the image in your head, I don't know. For me, I can't connect as much. Maybe it's because, you know, maybe because we're writers, but I also feel like people just in general, and not to bring country music into it, but all of the country music, they're like, do it. Yeah. They're like a full like life, someone's literal life story, or the story of a divorce, story of a marriage. And it's like, you can see, you know, the character's names sometimes. It's like a full short story. And I think that there's so much connection to be had.
Now, I wonder with this, have you guys ever helped with like writing other like songs, whether it be for other bands or just if you have done your own individual projects? Because obviously you're writers. I know not all writers transfer over in that way. But in the way that we're kind of breaking it down, I'm interested to see how it has either turned out or how that could turn out.
That's Chandra's question.
No, that's. I feel like, first of all, I feel like Misha would be amazing at writing lyrics. She is a poet. She has like such a good grasp of like the human condition. I think you'd be really good at it. So yes, I think that would be a very cool experiment. And you and Adam should start a band right now.
Well, if he was here, he would tell you that he stole my. Do you guys remember Zenga?
Oh yeah.
I had a Zenga page or whatever, and so when Adam and I started dating, he found my Zenga and stole the line. Not stole, he borrowed. He told me about it. New again. That was mine. It was a whole post about, and so that's my only claim to fame there. He did the whole line of the chorus was from my Zenga, and that's it. I'm ready to be new again. Ready to hear you say that. Yeah, so that was straight up from there. And so, before it. So that's the only music thing I've ever had any connection to as far as any lyrics or anything. But Chondra has a lot more.
Well, obviously, so that's like kind of twofold for us because we work on the stories. So I write the comics, the graphic novels, and all of the prose that go along with the albums. So that kind of becomes really a weird collaboration. Sometimes the songs are written first, and that like will inspire the storyline, and sometimes it's the reverse. So it's kind of this weird. It's just always happening. Like we'll be having a conversation, and he'll pull his phone out and be like, and I'm like, "Are you taking a note? Like, are you stealing a line from the conversation? We're brainstorming. That's not my best work. Change it." And like obviously, you know, he comes in with this like mound of ideas and like just kind of tosses them on the desk, and then I'm trying to sift through and create like the cohesion. But then we also do musical projects together. We have a teeny tiny side project called Shawnee and Clyde that we write together collaboratively, and then also he has a side project called The Prizefighter Inferno that had its first release, I think it was 20 years ago, 10, I don't remember it. It's an anniversary. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I think 20 years ago. It's the 20-year anniversary.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, I definitely remember it, and then I'm like, I don't.
He doesn't want to acknowledge how far he wants to remember it.
I don't want to say out loud on a recorded podcast in front of people, like to be wrong about, because I'll hear it in the comments.
And it's definitely 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But so then we've done EPs kind of for that project that we've worked on together, and lyrically. We'll release like little vinyl pieces that come out with other comics that are unrelated to the band. And we're actually touring on that in February for the first time that project has ever toured. So that'll be really very cool, interesting, terrifying, all the things.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's the side of like all this nostalgia stuff and the 20-year anniversaries, like bands that have never played
Oh my
live.
God, never.
Yeah.
It's like not even a band, you know? It's like
Yeah.
trying to figure out what that looks like and then pulling like these old songs up that haven't been touched for 20 years, like that were recorded on a 4-track in like a basement someplace and trying to give it some life. And then he does have another record that came out a couple of years ago during the pandemic. So there's a lot of material, but the old stuff has to be like completely gutted and redone. But it's good. I'm really excited. It's like, I don't know, 11 or 12 shows. And we're bringing our son out. We planned it around winter break so we can like hang out with him. He
Perfect.
loves touring. It is his favorite thing on earth.
Don't worry, he can start his little podcast again, just his touring podcast, like we were talking about earlier.
Shout out Art Films.
We've
not even a thing.
one of the things we talked about with Max and some other parents in bands that are, you know, going back out. I remember, I think it was when we talked with Midtown and Juliana Theory, and it's like you're trying to plan these runs as bands who are going out on these nostalgia tours, but you obviously, in the time between you were a band and now, it's like, I have a family, I have kids, I don't want to be away from them for so long. And I obviously, like, your podcast was started because of being away, them being on tour and all that. And it seems like a lot of bands after the pandemic, they're doing like weekend runs, they're doing winter break runs so that they can be with family a bit more. Are you? I mean, obviously, I think I've seen Taking Back Sunday like every time they're in Chicago because they're out a lot. I don't know if it's like our tour plannings are they finding a different way of doing this? Like, is this something that's pretty consistent among like parents in the scene who have had a record that's like 20 years old and they're like, man, but I kind of just want to like hang out at home with the family and I don't want to. Who are these kids at the show? Again, I'm bringing it back to who the fuck are these kids?
Who are these other kids?
Who are these other kids? They're not mine.
It's hard. I think can't speak for them, honestly. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of like this balance because they don't want to be gone forever. They don't want to miss like 2 months of their kid's life, but it's also their job. And it's the best job in the world. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so it's like this hard, if they can tour for 2 months, that's amazing. That's a gift, you know, but also it's like, is it manageable with all the wives at home? Everyone in Taking Back Sunday has kids. Most of them have 2 kids. We have 3. And so it's just like, yeah, like, and then missing birthdays, missing family engagements, you know, missing things. And so it can be a bit of a juggle, but I think that it's the balance between like, that's your job. And so you have to do your job and it's an amazing job. So it doesn't hurt, you know, it's like there's perks obviously to being gone. And so I don't know, that's kind of the way I look at it. I think that if it was only weekend runs and only planning around breaks, we'd probably be pretty stressed out about lack of work.
Yeah, I think it's different because you guys have toured straight through, you know, in the same kind of vibe that we have since like the early 2000s. It's just like, this is the job, this is the career. So you're much more used to it. You know, if you have to miss a birthday, you have to be, you know, not present in your life for sometimes. And there's also so many positives. We talk about this on the podcast a lot. Like, there's a lot to bitch about, but there's also it's such a unique way to live your life. And anybody that gets to like make art as a career, like, gosh, that's such a sweet spot, you know, true. Like this, you know, you guys are podcasting, you're going to Lollapalooza, like you know, just enjoying life.
You're curating for everyone. Curating. Yeah.
Thank you. Also, maybe sure. I'll say sure.
I think you're right. I think you made it I absolutely agree with the curating because I think, not to interrupt Chandra, but I think when I listen to this new music that's coming out, and I do think that, you know, it's not being gatekept, which is amazing, but that means that it's like this influx and I don't even know where to start. And so I feel like curating is now more than ever, such an important job.
Thank you.
Anyway,
I'll be the first.
That's what I have to say about that.
Of the two of us, I'll be the first one to talk shit about the podcast. So,
oh my God,
be celebrated in that moment.
Wow.
Be
proud of what you do, Brian. Be proud.
Yeah.
You do stuff,
Festy. Yourself is really hard sometimes. Like, it's hard to manage life. It just, you know, in general.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, it's all on you.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it's I think that because I was in a band, I wanted to be in a band, and then that didn't work out. So I have a podcast, which I think is just the sort of
Oh no.
the pipeline.
Well, listen,
That's the pipeline.
we're starting bands tonight. We just started
I know,
one.
so-
Like we can start more.
Yeah. Now it's just we're all band. Can we just call it band wives? Can we call
Are
it?
we
Yeah,
in
it's
a
all
band?
band wives.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
I have a weird feeling we're all the singer. So.
Oh wow. I don't think you want me to be the
I'm
singer
not-
though.
I don't want to be.
Me either. I'm not the singer.
Damn.
I honestly feel like, and maybe, I don't know. I feel like you should be.
It's you.
I am a singer.
I've been working on an egg. I've been shaking an egg, so I have my instrument down. It's fine.
Amazing.
I can play the flute. So I
Ooh.
hope we're ready for that.
This is gonna be a great band.
I was about
Yeah.
to say, like, intense flute solo. I can't play. I learned a little bit of a bass. I can, you know.
Oh, perfect.
If
A
you
little
can
is
do
all we
bass,
need.
we can all scream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
So feels right.
This is the weirdest band, but I do think we have percussion, we have bass, we have a melody instrument, and we have a singer. And
Yeah,
I don't think
see?
there's anything else.
Yeah.
We need.
I just feel really confident that with this band, we can at the very least open one show for Butter Lovers, and it'll
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah. It'll be
Fair.
a very artistic
Sure.
show.
The greatest night of our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I'll do-
one we'll remember.
Yeah. I'll do like the spoken word section of the breakdown.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
that'd be great.
Oh my god.
And like we have to like tap on it. When I was in undergrad in college radio, me and my one friend, because I was allowed to run the radio station, which I should not have been, we would do from midnight to 3 a.m. spoken word poetry. And one time we did
yeah.
Miss Jackson by Panic at
Oh
the
my
Disco.
God, stop.
And one of my friends was living on campus and he was awake and he walked in. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. I just trying some new programming tonight." So it could be that.
Just let that shit ride. I don't know.
I mean, I'm so afraid of spoken word poetry. As a poet, I am so afraid. I can't do it and I can't see it because I also have like a hair trigger, like laughter complex. It's really bad. But like in really inappropriate situations, I will be anywhere and I can't like hold my shit together over something unrelated to what is going on. But when it's quiet and you're supposed to focus on one situation, it's over for me. I'm embarrassing.
You've never embarrassed me. Not once.
Ew, that's why our friendship is so deep.
Yeah.
I love
There's
spoken
still
word
time.
poetry. I'll have some wine and like force people to read me poetry or vice versa.
Oh wow! So what a spoken word poetry party instead of the PowerPoint party.
This is
Yeah.
PowerPoint party.
Yeah.
Have you
You're
heard of this?
just sticking with no.
I'm about it. I love PowerPoint. I
Wait,
love the idea of it. I
I
haven't
need to
done
know.
one yet. To explain it, basically everybody gets a topic and you have to make a PowerPoint presentation for the party. And so everybody will, it's like 5 minutes or so, but it'll be like the most random things that you're just like getting really deep on. And you build a very like good PowerPoint presentation and everybody just sits around and jokes about your PowerPoints. And I'm like, that's exactly what I want to be doing.
Holy moly. I feel this is what I was made for.
Yeah. Right? When you think about it, you're like, no, that's awesome. Like, I'm going to talk about something that like it makes me feel like I am the only one of all of the people that I hang out with who knows everything about this. And you all hate hearing me talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
This is like a good, not neurotypical exercise because you can just like info dump on people in a very passive way.
Yeah. My friend who,
good.
our friend Alice, who consistently is like talking about mental health and being neurotypical, and I consistently say I'm neurotypical, is like, yeah, you're a little too hyper focused on some weird shit, man. I don't know, dude. And I'm like, no,
It's always the memes about like,
yeah. It's like,
Your
okay, so I know
grandfather was
this much
really
about Sonic the
into-
Hedgehog. Who cares?
Oh no,
You know?
not Sonic the Hedgehog. Brian showed me Shadow with a gun, and then he said, "I regret this." I'm like,
Yeah.
"This is all on you."
Lizzie's never been the same since learning about Shadow the Hedgehog, the 2008 GameCube video game.
wait a second. I have a lot of questions. Not that we have to get into it now.
No, we can get into it.
No, we can't.
This is the PowerPoint party. Unfortunately, I didn't prepare anything.
We've actually gone into the PowerPoint party presentation of this podcast with a lot of alliteration as well.
I wish.
What if, like, behind you right now, it was just like surprise, and there was like the game
This
cue.
curtain comes down.
Oh no!
We got a screen. We got a whiteboard.
No,
I'm gonna take notes.
not a whiteboard, a smart board.
Oh God. Kids today will never know the pain of a projector.
But parents also will no longer know the pain of having to buy 75 dry erase markers as part of your like school list.
Yeah, fair.
It's a racket.
It's a racket. I'm here to answer any Sonic lore related questions.
Oh my God. Well, I was gonna ask if you guys ever play games on your stream, on this stream.
We have. I am more the gamer type person. We've done some Jackbox games. Lizzie's played The Sims. I've played some Resident Evil games.
Okay.
I like a lot of story-driven games, which are not good for streaming.
No.
It's like, hey, tune in next time I stream, which will definitely not be the same time next week or any sort of semblance of schedule. But we'll definitely get through the Metal Gear Solid series. We're doing it. Just sit back and relax and enjoy a geopolitical thriller.
Oh,
with
no.
all the weirdest characters you could imagine. Tune in next Tuesday.
No.
Doesn't
Help
work.
me read the captions for an hour.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I
it's
forget
hard.
to turn on the captions too.
Oh gosh.
No
Come
one's
on,
happy.
Brian, you're
No one's
slipping.
happy. No one's having a good time in the streams. It's something that I love, but I think that most of the time I'm like, I'd rather just play a video game by myself and not have to like also entertain along with the game.
That's fair. You've got to get like a mindless game, we'll do Dr. Mario, which is like
Yeah.
I love it because I'm good at it.
Yep.
I don't love things that I'm not at least okay at. I don't want to play those games. And then I just like school my husband while we talk about, mindless shit.
Yeah.
I feel like multitask.
Yeah.
It's like, having your best ideas in the shower.
This is not going to make me sound more neurotypical.
Oh no.
Can't wait.
I'm not a Minecraft person. Like I just never really I played it a bit. I'm like, it's just not really for me. It's like not the type of creativity I want. But there's a game that's building a factory. You go to an alien planet
your
and you
fucking
mine
factory
resources.
game.
And I'm like over 1,000 hours into this game. I've started over 3 times. I've just deleted everything I've done and just began again. And yeah, and then like again, Alice was like, oh, like tell me, because she's played it, and she's like, oh, tell me about it. And I'm like, all right, so you do this. And the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I don't want to explain this to anybody.
It got a point like during COVID, he would be like, this is my factory hours of the week. And he would just send me updates. So I'm like, I'm so happy you and your little factories are doing so well.
Oh, the pandemic was a
Very
great
good.
time for climate change on that alien planet.
There's this game called Cult of the Lamb that one of our
Yes.
guests,
We did
Kaylee
play that a
Goldsworthy,
bit, yeah.
she's like, I come back from tour and I tend to my cults. And I'm like, that's the life I want to live.
Yeah, we did that with some of our chat and like had people like named from the chat and
Fun.
so that I had somebody to yell at when they were like they broke their bed and I was like, why? What are you doing over there? And like it was the same person every time and I'm like, I don't want to say nothing, but like
I just feel like you're being a problem person
feel like
right
you're being
now.
a problem, man.
Yep.
Who's getting sacrificed?
That's why you'd be a good cult leader like
Yeah.
Misha.
Yeah.
In real life, though, not in video games, because I don't know how to play any video games.
Okay.
So real
Yeah.
life.
So a real life cult
Obviously, yeah.
member. Interesting. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's like aspirational, but I was like really intrigued by this video game. And I've had a student write a story about another video game that I kind of want to play called Spiritfarer. Have you heard of that one?
think
It sounds
so.
familiar.
It's like you lead souls across the river Styx.
Oh.
Okay.
And you have to
Yeah.
like, kind of find out why they died
Oh
and
my god.
yeah, their story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful idea.
That's that once I heard about that game and I thought, oh, I might play a video game.
Might play a video. Yeah, that's how I am. I'm like, oh, there's one game. Maybe I'll do that one time.
Look, their experiences. There's like there's that level of where you're like, I have to, those shooter games where you're like, I got to control and there's somebody behind me and all this stuff. And I can't do that. But like, if it's like just an interactive story or an interactive experience where you're like, don't really have to control very much and you kind of have like not much of like a gamer skill. Like you're not like, I'm a gamer, but you're more like, I'm interacting with a world and I'm having an experience in this world. Like we were talking before about like comics and music and all that. And I'm like, it's kind of the same thing for me, like as a different form of media to have that similar type of experience with, of like, I'm getting this deep story driven, narrative driven thing. And like, I want more and I want all that experience to it. So anyway,
George R.R. Martin. Yeah. George R.R. Martin did the Elden Ring, right? He wrote the whole thing. And
yeah. Those are also games
you
I
don't
never
like
got
that
into.
one?
Because it's like, everybody's just like, these are the most difficult video games. Like they're like the meme about difficulty. And I was like, I don't know if I care about it enough to find out the story through the difficulty of it, Like
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like just like the mindlessness. Like I got so into the Starbucks summer game.
Oh no.
Honestly, yeah. I get you.
I was like, this is sick. I'm like, yeah, it's Tetris, basically. It's Dr. Mario. I'm going back. See, we're doing
There
great.
you go.
We're
All
doing
comes
great.
back together to Dr. Mario.
I would miss the train. I'd be like, Misha, I'm so sorry I'm late for our guest today. I got off 6 stops past my subway stop because I'm playing the Starbucks game. Like, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting some free deals out of it, right?
I know. You can earn rewards.
See, it all works.
It's a job. This is a career.
It's a career.
Working this.
Starbucks is a career.
Starbucks isn't cheap anymore, all right?
I know.
I mean, they should come out with a good game. They got a lot of money.
They do have a lot of money.
They should come up with a good game. I don't judge you for that. I'm sure it was great.
Thank you.
The talented minds at Starbucks.
There you go.
Hiring the best and the brightest in gaming.
All in gaming. Actually, the Starbucks gaming division's coming out soon.
Yeah, not an ad, but it could be.
It could be. Listen, Starbucks, I was a barista there for 3 years.
Yeah.
Come through.
Gosh, in Chicago?
In the suburbs. So,
Okay.
but I did go to the Chicago, like not the roastery, but the Chicago offices here, and I was able to make like a latte and everything, and I had like the black apron. So,
That's exciting.
So you pretty much run the place.
Pretty much.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to cut to the ad for Starbucks.
The Starbucks ad.
Folks,
No, actually,
it's summertime.
no, throw a curveball. We're gonna cut to like a completely obscure craft roaster that I'm really into, and then that's it. And then we're gonna be like, hey, yo, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I know
dream.
you guys have a Babbel sponsorship. So my idea is just to manifest like a sponsorship just by like constantly saying things about different brands and whatever. and
That's
hope
what
they
we
come
do.
through.
Yeah.
That's our
Yeah.
line. We always say not an ad, but it could be.
But it could be.
Bring it on. I was listening to a pod recently where they were just like talking about Olive Garden because they really liked it, and one of the other people was like, "Is this an ad? Are we getting Olive Garden sponsorships?"
Listen, the OG
Yeah,
is good.
they didn't even say the
Oh my
line.
gosh.
They just were
Yeah,
like talking
it's
about
true.
like they were like, "No, it's just really good."
My son graduated from middle school and his dream dinner was Olive Garden, and that is
That's
where we
crazy.
went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
where
if you go
that's
to
where I
Olive
had my
Garden now, you
28th
can join
birthday
that.
party with my family last December. I came home from a work party and they're like, guess where we're going? The OG for your birthday. And I was like, sick.
Do you like unlimited breadsticks?
Yeah,
I love it. I'm gluten free now, so I can't have any of it.
it's very limited for her.
It's very upsetting.
Incredibly limited.
Limited.
Granted, we did go to the OG. My dad's like, do you have some gluten free breadsticks back there? And they're like, no. And he's like, how dare you?
Maybe that's your in. They need to create a gluten-free menu.
A full gluten
Come
free
on,
menu.
step it up, Olive Garden.
Come on, it's 2023
Yeah,
with the
seriously.
gabagool.
Invite the Emo Social Club and Band Wives to help you to make your gluten-free breadsticks, and we will
All of-
advertise for you.
I feel our audiences are aligned.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think.
I think it's that. And I think it's Chili's too.
Oh my God.
I would give anything for a Chili's sponsorship.
Me and my friends rolled up to our local Chili's one day, and there was like 8 of us, and like we weren't like mean menaces. We were just menaces in the fact that all 8 of us ordered the same exact margarita to the point where twice, and the bartender came out and was like, "Is this my El Nino table?" And I'm like, "Oh my god." It was the greatest time.
That was a sponsorship.
That was. Give it to
That
us.
feels right.
It is something that I kind of want to do whenever we get a podcast on, and just be like, how do I podcast based on how you podcast? So
Okay, let's discuss. Let's have a round table.
let's have a round table.
Yeah.
So how do I podcast? Start from the beginning.
That's actually why we reached out to you.
Good. Okay. All right. I think by
Hoping
the
for
end of
some
this,
answers.
we can figure something.
We can figure it out.
Yeah, some
Let me
format.
introduce you to my PowerPoint.
And we pull the
Yeah, the
screen down.
PowerPoint. Let's go. Fun fact: the PowerPoint's actually just my my how to podcast for literally all of my journalism
To be
classes
fair,
I teach.
yeah. Lizzie actually does like professionally know how to podcast.
Oh, well then, let's see the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Let's get the
Lizzie.
PowerPoint up.
Yeah.
Give us like top 2 tips.
Top 2 tips. What I can think of for podcasting is to be very well prepped and prepared for when you go into interviews.
All right, so we're never gonna do that.
Oh no, Brian.
All right, so we're out.
And to be able to understand, like, I mean, we were kind of talking about this off stream, but when you guys went to your manager and you're like, we want to do a podcast, and he's like, this is a lot of work, realizing that it is a business, and that's why that you see a lot of people who can podcast, but they're not podcasters, because not everybody can be a podcaster.
Yep. Yeah, it's like even sometimes it's like life. I was telling you guys before we came on that we recorded an episode yesterday in the midst of the chaos, and the sound was bad, and we're trying to like figure out what's going on. But that's kind of what it is, because like life happens, but you have to be consistent and show up for people and just be like, and I say people, it's like our one fan. You have to be there for them. They're there.
There's
and they're
2 of
waiting
us
for
right
us.
here. You've
Yeah,
got
we're
more than
right
one
here.
fan.
Aw, no.
You know, just like if you want to do it, it's like anything. It's like writing a novel. You know, you have to show up. You have to show up and put words on the page every day, and just like do it all the time. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's fun, and sometimes it's just like, well, that sucked, but we did our best.
We did start off this episode by saying we were going to do that.
Yeah, we're doing
So,
our best.
Yeah.
We're all trying, and you know what? That's something that you do have in common with children.
Yeah.
Trying our best.
You know?
Yeah.
You see
When
a
I see them
kid-
at the gigs now, I'm going to look at them and I say, "Hey, we're both trying our best." And
Oh
they're
no.
like, This man approached me and said the least positive, most positive thing I've ever heard.
that'll be like something that they put on the TikToks.
Oh my God.
And TikTok. This is gonna get stitched.
Yeah.
We're gonna make this into a TikTok video, and then everyone will
That's
stitch it and be like, "Hello."
Oh Lord.
I just don't get kids. It's like a Seinfeld episode, which also kids don't get.
They should. Great show.
I'm sorry, I don't get signed.
Oh my God.
I know. I feel like Seinfeld is really like a specific point in time, and if you can't, the references and the lack
Yeah.
of cell phones and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It is. But
I can't go back. I can't watch it anymore.
no, you're not going back. I only
No.
watch it for the characters because they're so ridiculous and I love them so much. I don't care what they're doing or whether it makes sense. I want to be a part of it. It's like your best friends.
No.
And he just like,
You're
absolutely
like, I don't
not.
want to be friends with these 4 people.
Like, hello?
When I go back and watch it, I don't know. It's just like it's same with Friends.
Friends
And
is-
I can't. I just like. Oh, I felt like that was. Oh, you know what? And same with Sex and the City, because it's like I watched it then, literally when it came out, and now I will like maybe see part of it or put it on and be like, oh no, that part of me is gone.
It's like, oh no, what is going on here?
Yeah, every episode is like troubling, and that's what we were raised with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
see,
boy.
I watch like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and then like Disney
Great
Channel.
show.
I liked
Great
that show too.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's troubling though.
I know I have not
Also.
gone to revisit it because I don't know if any streaming services even have it. And you know what? That's okay. I don't know if I want to be
Yeah.
decimated like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And Salem
I
the
haven't-
Cat was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a theory that all of our generation are obsessed with true crime and like podcasts also because our parents listened to or watched Unsolved Mysteries when we were children.
Correct.
We were falling asleep and we heard it trickling into our rooms. So we have to be very cognizant of the things that we're digesting.
Yeah, no, my parents just said go and watch it, and then they're like, "Why are you kind of weird?" I'm like, "I feel like this is your guys' fault."
It is. They're all like, "Oh, yeah."
That and probably the Tower of Terror movie on Disney Channel. That also,
Oh my God.
that really did it.
We
Peak
went
cinema.
there a couple weeks ago, and I took my son for the first time on the Tower of Terror.
Wow.
And it's all he can talk about are elevators and why we shouldn't get on an elevator.
Oh,
and
no.
how scary it was.
No.
He plays Roblox, and he'll be like Roblox. I'm like, where are you in this world? He's like, I'm at the Tower of Terror. He's like reliving it, working through the trauma.
Oh my God.
He's working through the
my
trauma. Is that what I have to do with animatronic dinosaurs in The Mummy?
First of all,
Yes.
I don't know
I
if
love
anyone
them.
should do exposure therapy through Roblox at the same time. If that's your only
I don't know. I keep trying to go on the dinosaur ride at Disney World, and every time I'm like, oh, this animatronic dinosaur is going to come to life, and it's game over.
Damn, it's Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, no.
Oh gosh, my son. Yeah, there were moments of terror. Yeah,
Yeah.
trauma from the. And I'm like, no more Five Nights at Freddy. And then they're like, no, I love it. I hate it.
I don't get that at all.
I mean, is he about to ask you to go take him to see the Five Nights at Freddy's movie,
Okay,
though?
the movie looks kind of good.
Oh, I'm sure we'll see it.
Movie
I'm
looks
sure.
kinda good.
I
It's on
I don't do any scary movies. I don't even at all. Like I never have, and thankfully Adam doesn't either. So but that means our oldest son, who's 14, he thinks it's cool. And he wants to watch all the horror movies, and he's annoyed that Dad and I won't, do the horror movies with him. But that's just the way of it. I feel like if we were like, Keaton, watch these horror movies, you're going to love it. He'd be like, this is inappropriate.
This is
I feel like
inappropriate.
you can't win. I feel like that's just the way of it. Kind of, the generational thing.
Yeah.
That's the reverse psychology. You show it to them so they're like,
Yes.
nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then you're like, good, because
Yeah.
I'm not taking you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like this.
Yeah. I feel like it's that way with everything. With tattoos, I feel like I wonder if the next generation will have any, or if they'll be like, oh no. So
It does seem that way, right? Like we're twisting it now. They were like, I don't want to do anything. Like, oh, the millennials did this. I don't want to do that. It's like,
Yeah.
They're like, it's too cringe.
yeah.
Yes.
What the hell?
oh no.
It's okay. One of my producers, she walked into my office one day. She was like, hey, I have a question. And then it was something about an iPhone. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I have Samsung. She's like, oh my God, I forgot you're cringe. And I'm like, hello? We have a 4-year age difference.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah. Lizzie's
I'm not
finally feeling
I'm not
the
even in
age.
my 30s yet.
I know. It doesn't matter. My niece told me, so we have a niece who's now 23, and she told me when I was like 25, she was like, when you're 30, you're not going to be cool anymore. And I was like, my dude, what are you talking about? I am so cool. And then I turned 30 and I was like, oh yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's over. It's over for me.
But you don't have to care anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
That's
just
what we
so
were
good
talking
not to
about
care.
earlier.
Yeah.
You just listen to Counting Crows on repeat.
Yeah.
And Goo Goo Dolls. You submit yourself to Mom Rock.
Yes,
That's it.
That is me. I mentioned Counting Crows in my classroom one day, and not a one student.
Really?
They were.
Wow.
Not a one.
That's
These kids
insane.
are, like 20 to 22. Not one.
Wow.
And then I was that person who was like, I can't believe you don't know
Yeah.
this. And they're just like,
You're the curator.
don't
now.
come at me. Well, no, I'm just an old lady.
You're
You're a culture curator.
You're a
I did
culture
this.
curator.
I did the same thing because I run the college radio station at the university I teach at, so I'll have to like help them program music, and it's an like rock variety station. And I'm like, oh, like we need to put like the old school emo in because I have one girl, she does like an emo radio show. I'm like, yeah, like I'll definitely help you. And I'm like, hey, she's like, I want to do older emo. I'm like, okay, from like the late 80s. Let's go. And she's like, no, I mean like from the 2000s. I'm like, you did not just say that. Get out of here right now. Get out of here right now. You're done.
It's so true. I was thinking about that too because I met this girl and I was talking about, emo music, and she's a huge fan of Say Anything, and I met her at a writing, and she's talking about this early emo. But when I talk about it versus when Adam talks about it, because he knows like the stuff from the 80s and the 90s, and like all of this original stuff that I'm definitely not schooled at. But I think it's cool that there's like seeds of that were planted so early.
That's because parents held them down and said, you have to listen to this song and know this band.
Do you owe it all to your parents, all your 80s emo knowledge?
Yes, a lot of it. Honestly, I'm like, I was thinking about that when you said Olivia Rodrigo earlier. And there's that line about like Billy Joel, like that, this like line about Billy Joel that I taught you about Billy Joel. And I was like, whoa, people must be taught about Billy Joel. Like, I mean, we're in New York, so it's different. Like, Billy Joel is knowing about a bagel. But I was just shocked that wasn't a thing. It's crazy. We're old. It's okay.
It's totally okay. We did, I think we can at least shout out Fall Out Boy for bringing back Billy Joel to the collective consciousness of music. And
Wait, why? Why?
They
I don't
covered
know that.
We Didn't Start the Fire, but they made it updated.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. We,
Whoa.
There's
a lot of lyrics in that song.
There are a lot of lyrics.
A lot of words.
And I didn't like their version that much.
Okay. We can say those things.
Yeah. I was like, I don't like it. Here's why. I'm going to go through the lyrics. I'm going to say, I don't really get this. I don't necessarily love the original. I was like, maybe I just
they changed the lyrics.
They changed it. They made it more modern.
Oh, I see.
They're like, let's do the last 30 years since the original version.
Yeah.
And
It actually came out, and I was in a newsroom meeting, and I went up and tried to bond with everybody, some of the other editors. I'm like, hey, did you guys hear about this Fall Out Boy Billy Joel cover that I made them listen to it with me?
But it's just like, is it like, I need the lyrics. I feel like I'm gonna have to do a Goog after this.
I don't want to spoil anything for you lyric wise, but I do think
some of it's pretty wild. Some of it's pretty wild. Like you'll stop yourself and be like, "Hey, yo, did they just say that?"
Yeah, I had to pause a few times. Like, okay, what?
All right.
Oh, okay. Now I gotta listen to it. Yeah. We interviewed Marie Troman, Joe's wife, and she's my idol, straight up. She's so badass. So that's all I know. I don't know that song yet. We'll have to look up the lyrics, but I know that Marie is angelic.
I mean, I know the original is also not that great.
I didn't love it. But do you have any idea how many people are on YouTube that are like, hey, I don't think you get it. I think that you're just wrong. You should like the original. It's like, yeah, I don't really like it. They're like, well, I'm older than you, and I'm like, I'm old enough. I'm old enough to know. Like, it's just not maybe that good. But the people are hardcore about Billy Joel.
I'm with you. Don't like what you don't like. Yes. People don't want you to not like stuff. I will just like straight up not listen to it, quit a show, talk shit about it. You don't have to like stuff.
That's it. Yeah. That's okay. And you can also be like, Billy Joel's catalog is fantastic, but this song is crap.
Yeah.
That's okay.
He's got great songs otherwise, songs that I'm fine listening to. But
there's songs I skip of my husband's albums.
Yeah.
Oh,
I skip them.
Name them.
Unregrettably.
List them here on the podcast. Let's put them out there.
I'm going to tell you right now. My son and I both agree, and I will tell him very clearly. The last album, I'm like, Bad Man, skip. And then I talk about it to people, and they're like, you're a monster. And I was like, okay, do each his own. It's fine.
Damn.
You know what? You like what you like.
This is the first time we've said name it here, and somebody actually named it.
I did. I will name it. I'm no shame.
Name drop it.
Good.
Now, Misha, do you Taking Back Sunday song?
Yeah, no, you gotta drop
Oh no.
No, Adam's way more sensitive than Claudio, so I can't say that. Adam's really sensitive. But it depends on my mood, because some Taking Back Sunday songs, as you may be aware, can be kind of negative.
Sure.
And it's like sometimes you're in the mood for that, to be like, this person's an asshole, I'm not happy with them, but then other times you're just kind of like, I'm not feeling like I can like connect with that energy. So that's kind of where I'm at, I feel like.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So I'll skip some songs that I love, but maybe it's because I've listened to it a bajillion times and I'm not in the mood, or because I'm like not feeling a certain way.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, this is that diplomatic.
That's a diplomatic
That
answer.
is.
That's a podcaster answer right there.
No, if anything, this will upset you. Brian and I both collectively played Your Soul last summer, which is my favorite Taking Back Sunday song at emo night, and no one popped off on either floor except for us because we're real ones.
We're getting over the hill on that.
I love Taking Back. I mean, I listen to Take My Sunday all the time, and so I feel like I'm biased. I'll like pull up to the kids' school, and then I'll have to like turn it down so the teachers are like, "She's listening to Take Back Sunday."
They're gonna be like, "Hello, ma'am, are you okay?"
Are the kids
Well, it's only because they know. No, the kids love it. We listen to it all the time.
All right.
But teachers know. You know, they go to a small school, and so then I don't want to. They wouldn't care. But I just thought, I always just kind of turn it down.
I listen to Taking Back Sunday all the time.
Aww.
Like, truly, they were like part of my, my emo formative years.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think like Coheed and Taking Back came up together, and I feel like there's such a weird sort of kinship in all these festivals that no longer exist and Warped Tour and things where you just like you saw the same faces all the time, and you really did get to see, like watching Adam as a frontman for 20 years is like he's amazing. He's so charismatic. He's so much fun to watch. Like those albums are so significant to, it's cool. It's cool to like be in a scene where you really like the people that you're surrounded by, and you're like, God, this is a bop.
Yeah, and these guys are great. It's funny because I grew up in rural Minnesota, small town, and that was before the internet, which is ridiculous to say. But I did not have the internet growing up, and so then I left and went to college and hadn't heard any of the music, any of it, but Nine Inch Nails. Do you guys remember? Like
we've seen Nine Inch Nails.
Oh yeah.
No, sorry, no. That's not what I need. I don't mean Nine Inch Nails. What's the Christian record label?
Tooth and Nail?
Oh, Tooth and Nail, yeah.
Tooth and Nail. Yeah. Nine Inch Nails. I love, and I have seen them more than once, but no, Tooth and Nail. So that was like the only thing I was exposed to. So MXPX and that sort of thing was how I got into any of this music after I left home. And so I feel like I came into it late.
I think you came in through the Christian rock way, which is fair. I feel like all of us have that
That's
way.
what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And it was like Amberlyn was on Tooth and Nail for a while, I think. And so it was like I got into Amberlyn, and that was like who and that was kind of my transition in. But Nine Inch Nails, Trent Reznor, he's great too.
Yeah, very not
different,
Christian rock,
but yeah. Yeah.
He just scored with Atticus Ross. They just scored the new Ninja Turtles movie.
Wild.
That's insane. I love it.
What a beautiful thing to just like take on any project you want to like that.
I know.
They did Soul too, and that movie soundtrack was
really good.
mind-blowing.
So
good. Wait, what is Soul?
It's a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I thought. The cartoon. Yeah. I didn't realize that was them.
There's a lot of moments in that where I was like, this has got to be Trent Reznor, and it was.
You can hear it, and it's.
I didn't realize that.
So good.
Yeah.
These are all of our recommendations. So we're curating.
Also, throw in Patrick Stump doing like the Lego. I think it's like the Lego video game, and I think he also. I think you could fact check me on this because I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure that he also is doing the Five Nights at Freddy's music.
I think
they
did a song for They did a song for The Big Hero 6.
They did, yeah, Immortals.
That's a good song. It's still gets stuck in my head. Yeah.
Brian doesn't like post anything Fall Out Boy. I do.
I'll name every Fall Out Boy song I don't like.
Oh no!
Tell us which ones you don't like.
It's everything post Folia do. Anyway, that's not true. I like some songs post Folia do. We've been recording over an hour, which is amazing because this feels just like sitting and talking and hanging out. And I want to make sure we finish with giving a little bit of plugs and where people can listen, where people can check out the podcast and anything else that you have going on. So I'll hand it over to both of you to promote your stuff.
Well, we have the Bandwives podcast, which we would love you to listen to, subscribe, download, review. And another big one is we're going to Portugal. Next year, we're hosting a creative writing retreat.
Ooh.
That's fire.
Yeah.
Yes, we're very excited. We will drink wine. We will do art. we will, I don't know, hang out and talk and shoot the shit just like this.
Mhm.
Maybe we'll talk about emo things.
Yeah.
And then write them down.
Yes, and write them
Oh,
down.
I have ideas.
Yeah.
I don't know what the emo scene is like in Portugal, so
Yeah, I don't know either.
We're going to find out. Neither of us have been, but I'm really excited.
is this like, because I mean, if it is good, is this like a way of just like, oh man, we got to do this thing in Portugal, man? Like, I don't know what it is. It's just like, I have to go. It sucks. We got to do this thing. But like, I guess we're going to go to Portugal.
Well, we went to Italy and we had such an amazing time together writing and working. And so we were just kind of like, actually got contacted by us hosting this like kind of like hosting group. And they were like, oh, we'll put together these trips and you can kind of like curate it. And we're like, yeah, let's go.
There you go.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Liz
That's
and
a drink.
We're coming to Portugal.
Oh
Yeah,
man, I
come
gotta
to
get. Now I
Portugal.
really gotta get my
mean,
passport.
Yeah.
Listen,
I
go
really
on,
want you
Babbel.
to. I'm very serious that I want you to come with us and use our Babbel link.
Use
And get your
The
Babbel
Babbel link in the
subscription. Yeah. No, that was actually something I was thinking about. I know we're almost done, but that was something I was thinking about, like doing your own podcast, being your own boss, so to speak. And it's like getting these affiliates, like getting your, like, you know, it's like you have to be your own PR unless you hire out, you know, which we got help with, or like you have to be your own production, you have to be your own manager. You have to, really is a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's independent band stuff, but in 2023, it's just independent podcasters. Similar idea, but different execution and different Babbel promo codes, I guess.
Yeah. Promo code emo.
Yeah. We don't have one, so don't use that one. Use the Bandwise one. Go to the Bandwise.
Try it.
Yeah.
Try
Try and
it.
see.
Throw it in. Toss it in. Maybe it'll work. But
It's
otherwise,
not a code, but it might be.
yeah, it's not a code.
It could be.
Make sure if you're listening to this, if you're watching, if you're viewing, if you're a partaker of the content, if you're being curated upon, to go and check out the Bandwise podcast and listen to all the episodes. Every single one of them is a 5-star episode, so make sure you rate them as such over there on the podcasting app of choice. Use code Babbel in the Babbel app, however that works.
However it is, make sure you also leave them a nice little review on Apple Podcasts too.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Any sponsorships, let us know.
Starbucks, we're ready.
Yeah, come
Starbucks.
on.
I'll say something nice about
Independent
Oreado.
coffee roasters. Yeah.
Independent cover. Yeah.
Preferred.
The OG.
Preferred. Well, yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll wrap up the episode there. Thank you so much to Bandwise Pod, Chondra and Misha. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.